Good grief.
That was an easy one.
Was that 5 minutes we just spent?
It's time to spend some time with Rick. It's time to spend some time with Rick.
He's a lean and mean former child star, MJ knew him well. Hear him sing, watch him dance, he'll put you under his spell. Behind the scenes, Uncle John or buddy time with his kids. Everybody around the world, tell what time it is.
It's time to spend some time with Rick.
Jump back, kiss myself.
It's time to spend some time with Rick. With Rick.
What time is it?
With Rick.
What time is it?
With Rick.
What time is it?
Yeah, I looked up at the clock. I was like, oh no, man. Good night.
Yeah, we went a little bit over because I think her manager only wanted 45 minutes. We went a little bit over, but I was like, there was too much to talk to, and she's kind of similar to Chakraborty. She could talk, and she's wonderful to listen to.
Yes, absolutely. You ask her a question and she has so much that she's wanting to share, and it's not a surprise when you see the work that she does. That's the characteristic of all of the great artists, but particularly of the actors. The standard thing about an actor typically is that when you talk to them about the art form, they're going to want to not stop talking. They may be quiet and reserved in other areas, but when you're tapping into that heartbeat, they just want to. And that's what I love about our interviews, is that you can see in their eyes their excitement to know that, this isn't going to be gossip. This isn't going to be crap. We're going to talk about substantive artistry and things that really matter to me. And clearly she loves the art form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was wonderful.
She was great.
Okay. I'll see you later.
Bye. For those of you wondering about Yes And, because I referenced in the interview the fact that her using that reference demonstrates her training. But I didn't go into any details in that regard because I wanted to give the floor to her to be able to continue to say what she wanted to say. I'll do that here. Yes and is, I don't know where it originated, but it is a very common thing in training for actors, most especially in improvisation. Having been over at the Groundlings, if you're unfamiliar with them, you should check them out. They and Second City are two of the biggest contributors to the world of comedic training for people who end up on shows like Saturday Night Live. And the Groundlings, they have different approaches to comedy. There isn't one right and one wrong. They're just different approaches. And some actors and comedians feel more resonating toward one versus the other. I particularly feel more resonated toward the Groundlings. And I've been to the Groundlings for a few different training things over a period of the years. Not for long, but yes and is one of the first things you learned in improv. It's a cardinal rule that when an actor offers you something, and we're talking about improvisation, it goes across the board with everything, including scripted content when the actor is saying a scripted line, because it shouldn't be exactly the same way each time. But when it comes to improvisation and adding something that the other actor wasn't aware was coming, the rule is when an actor improvises and offers you something, example, you're in a given circumstance that the teacher gives to you in the class that says, okay, the two of you are strangers meeting in a grocery store and you both want the same product and there's only one left, go. So you walk up, you're going to grab the product and you don't know what's going to happen because it's improvisation. Whatever the other actor does, no matter how bizarre, boundary pushing it is for you, you will accept it. Give you that as the example. So the yes and would be the one actor comes up and goes to grab the box, you go to grab the box and you touch at the same time. And when you touch hands, let's say the other actor surprises you, and rather than go in the direction you thought the scene would go, you touch hands and they look at you and go, my, your hands are soft. A good improviser will take that and yes and it. What they'll do, my, your hands are soft. I know. I lotioned them before I came in when I saw you get out of your car. Oh, you knew I was coming? You will be. Pun intended. That's improvisational yes and. The opposite of that would be this. My, your hands are soft. No, they're not. Scene's dead. Where are you going to go now? So what she was saying was she applied the theory of yes and to her work. That any project and anything that was coming her way, she saw it as a serendipitous opportunity presented to her by God or the universe that said, what do you think? And she said, yes, and I'll move with that and I'll go forward with that. That is what yes and is in theory as an improv actor. And it's critical in the work of an actor on set, because some of the most golden moments you're ever going to encounter are going to be things that occur that you didn't anticipate. Some of the most legendary moments in all of cinema history weren't scripted. Now, that doesn't mean you can take liberties with the script just because you want to find the yes and. First of all, don't do that. The writer wrote it for a reason. Second of all, you don't do things just because you think it's going to work. That's not a great motivation, because what you're doing is what Howard Fine refers to as pre-shaping. And you don't want to pre-shape a character or a moment. I'll give you an example that Howard Fine uses when it comes to pre-shaping. When you're watching, say for example, I'll use cricket. And it's hit. Do you think the rest of the team, the players out in the field who are going to go after that ball, already had a preconceived notion in their mind that no matter where the ball went, they were going to run that way? Of course not. They can't do that. They need to go with whatever's happening. And that's what you have to do as an actor to make it believable and real, because life happens in the moment. You don't know what's happening next moment to next moment. And when a moment comes up, one of the worst things an actor could do would be in the middle of a scene and something happens, like the book drops or a bird flies by, and you just stop because you assume, oh, the bird flew by, we have to stop the scene. No, you yes and that. It's up to the director to decide whether or not they're going to stop rolling. You may find the magic in that moment. One of the greatest moments that's referred to all the time, I've referred to it, is in the movie Midnight Cowboy. And Dustin Hoffman and Jon Voight are crossing the street in Manhattan, and they were filming it a la Anurag Kashyap, and I know other directors have done this, where they didn't set the city, they didn't close the streets. They're just walking across the street, and it's normal traffic, normal pedestrians. And as they're walking across the street, a car pulls into the crosswalk and almost hits Dustin Hoffman, who's playing Ratso Rizzo. And he smacks the hood of the car and yells at the guy and says, hey, I'm walking here. I'm walking here. That wasn't scripted. That was an actual car in Manhattan that almost hit him. And he stayed in character, as did Jon Voight, and they kept it because that is a beautiful moment. It's a legendary moment now because it was a yes and that Jon Voight and Dustin Hoffman didn't say no to. So I went off on that in a tangent, but you heard what Corbin and I said. She is like all of the actors and the singers and the directors we've spoken to that we knew from their work were people who you can see in their work. They love the art form. They care about the art form. And you know that when you talk with them, what you're going to be talking about isn't how much box office was done, isn't whether or not the season's going to get renewed, isn't about whether there's going to be a sequel. And we're not going to ask them questions that have to do with personal gossip. That makes us want to vomit. What they want to talk about and what we want to talk about is all of the things that motivate them to do what they do as an actor and an artist, and all of the things they want to see happen in the art form, and why they're happy to be a part of the art form. And this, again, was just another magnificent interview. She seems to be such a intelligent, articulate, insightful, humble, generous artist, and is exactly what we anticipated as we've watched her work and going to keep watching her work. So hope you liked the interview. Hope you liked the afterthoughts. Take care. Be safe. Love you guys.